What's going on, everybody? Shout out to my subscribers. Shout out to anybody new coming across this channel. Comments and feedback are always welcome. And if you like what you hear, feel free to subscribe. Shout out to my newest subscriber, Carlos Malave. Pretty interesting dude. He's got his own YouTube channel. Started a podcast up recently, so I will drop a link to his most recent one that I listened to in the comment section for you guys to check out. So, I had recently listened to a video from this dude, Aaron Benton. He talked about if people are going to burn in hell forever. This is an idea that I held to for quite a while that I would say right now I don't hold to anymore based off looking into it. Almost like with hearing his video, he touches on it a little bit, but he doesn't really go into great detail. But he does mention, he kind of alludes to like the fact that they don't. So if I go look it up, I looked up a bunch of the verses that relate to people being thrown into the lake of fire. And the way that it's referenced, if you're reading in a plain reading of the text, is as if people are going to die, be brought back to life, and then their judgment is going to be a punishment, which would include being cast out into darkness, which to me would be what would happen if you are thrown into this fire and die in that fire, because it says you're going to have a second death. So in order to have a second death, that means you can't be living forever, because then you're never going to die. If it's saying a second spiritual death, then that, I guess, is what relates to people saying that it's separation from God. But to me, if that's what the focus is, then the lake of fire makes no sense. So for the fact that there is a lake of fire, that to me would say that your body is going to be thrown into that, where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth, because you're going to suffer in the fire that you will know as your only and last experience when reborn, I would say, or brought back to life. I don't know if you would necessarily then, or you'll be, you're just going to die knowing that this fire was never ending. So for you, the fire never ended. Because when you end the second time, that fire is still going to be going. The reason I relate that is because the same quote is used, the same phrase is used for Sodom and Gomorrah, how people died in eternal fire. Now, Sodom and Gomorrah obviously didn't burn for all eternity, but their last experience was a fire. So that's how I'm seeing these verses that relate to people being cast into the eternal fire. But it doesn't say that they're being cast into the fire for eternity, to suffer for eternity, to be punished for eternity. The devil and the angels, it speaks of being tormented forever and ever. So in that one, it does give a specific time period. It states how long, which is forever. People that are cast into the lake of fire, when you read any of the verses related to it, are spoken of as being cast into the eternal fire. Which to me would say that to say I'm thrown into something does not mean that I will be in there forever. It means that that fire never ends. I'm probably going to die in it, but then I'm not there anymore. That to me is that darkness part. Cast into the outer darkness, to me it would be that darkness that you don't recognize as darkness because there's no you to recognize anything. So I can understand where they're going with that one, if I'm correct, at least in that interpretation. But that's so far what I'm pulling from it. I will provide a link to at least the site that pulls out all of the verses, if I don't just go in and individually add each verse that relates to it in the description box. But comments and feedback are always welcome. Hit that subscribe button. Thanks for checking this out. Have a good one. Peace.